Oh, we're going to send this report card home to your parents. Oh, the parents see the report card. Yep. Yo, you failed? Oh, no, this is unacceptable. Failure, like, we're afraid, it's instilled in us at a very young age. Like, no, it's not okay to fail. Education system teaches us that it's not okay to fail. When failure is one of the most important parts of success.
Very true.
So I feel like the whole thing is just, it's just...
What's going on, family? Kevin and Jesse here with you guys, the Elite State of Mind podcast. As always, our goal is to listen, learn, and grow. Again, we are joined by Miss Mia. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. How are you?
I am doing well. Just how you doing, man?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing amazing. Family, make sure you guys like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram page. Hit that little bell on YouTube for me so you get notified every Wednesday afternoon as Jesse and I help you guys listen, learn, and grow. Family, what we're going to talk about this time around, we're going to talk about the other part, the other side of the drifter, which is the non-drifter. The person that may be trying to do some things, that may have a place to go, they may have a plan about them. So Miss Mia, for you, what is a non-drifter?
A non-drifter is someone who has their own thoughts, they're in control of their mind, and they set goals and they take action. They embrace failure.
Okay.
They don't have that fear in their mind. So they'll just go after whatever it is that they're wanting in life.
Ooh, go after whatever they want in life. I like that.
They stick to it.
Well, that's true. Yeah. The non-drifter definitely has some stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah.
Sure.
Jesse, for you, what is the non-drifter?
The non-drifter has purpose because they have a definiteness of plan. It's lined out.
Right.
That's one of the things that really stands out to me, that the intricacy of detail in the plan is there. It's not just, I'm over here and we're going to do this. What do you want to do? I think I want to get this much money. Okay, great.
And that's it?
Yeah, no, we're going to actually get in and say, hey, we're really going to break it down.
Right.
And so that detail it stood out because most people really don't do that. And we're not really taught that, in school at all. Like, it's just, what do you want to become? What do you want to be? I want to be this. Okay, that's great. Keep it up.
Right.
But there's nothing more to it than, okay, if you want to become, an astronaut or you want to study the planets or whatever, okay, what do you need to know?
Right.
You need to understand mathematics at a higher level. Okay, you need to be very familiar with physics. Understand, the chemistry behind things. We're understanding vectors and things of that nature because the planets are aligned in such a way that in order to understand the effects of wind speed, movement, you have to understand. So, the detail to that planet has to be there. And I think, the non-drifter, they accept that, right? I think that's a winner's trait. Like, understanding that I have to have a plan and then I have to be able to, no matter, it takes what it takes, right? Shout out Coach V. It takes what it takes in order to reach the goal. And so we have to get that. If you're going to be a non-drifter, it takes whatever it takes.
Coach Venom was definitely a non-drifter. He's definitely a non-drifter. I want to talk about something, real quick, when it comes to the education system, so often now it creates more drifters than it does non-drifters because it wants to, first of all, it wants to take the imagination out of learning. It wants to take the imagination out of children. It wants everybody to learn only one way, and we know there are, at least 5 ways that people will learn and obtain knowledge. For you guys, Miss Mia, I'll ask you first. Why do you believe that our education is set up in such a way that it wants to create just these drifters?
That is a good question. I feel like it's just generational. It's just being passed down because I feel like the education system has been like that, since the beginning of the education system here. I mean, okay, this is it right here. Oh, you failed. Oh, we don't like failing grades. We don't. You're measured on this grading system, right? So if you fail, like you're afraid. My son told me the other day, like, I'm afraid to fail. He told me yesterday, I'm afraid to get a bad grade at school. Yeah. Like, when kids get a bad grade at school, like their teachers like are they put into the students' minds that like it's not okay to fail.
Right.
You don't want to fail. You better study, and you better take in this knowledge that I'm giving to you just the way it is, and this is what the answer is going to be on the test. So whenever you take that test, you better make sure you have all the right answers, because you don't want to get that F. Oh, we're gonna send this report card home to your parents. Oh, the parents see the report card. Yep. Yo, you failed. Oh no, this is unacceptable. Failure, like we're afraid. It's instilled in us at a very young age. Like, no, it's not okay to fail. Education system teaches us that it's not okay to fail, when failure is one of the most important parts of success.
Very true.
So I feel like the whole thing is it's a setup.
It's definitely based on a lot of fear, and like you said, for us as parents, you do have to be cognizant when you have children, and if they make a bad grade, for probably all of us here at this table, when we grew up, if you got a bad grade, the choice punishment was to beat you because you weren't applying yourself, because you weren't studying, you weren't doing the things necessary. But like you said, Miss Mia, the teacher, so often is only teaching one way. And what if that's not the way that I learn? What if that's not the way that I pick it up? But parents, we don't do, parents, and in many cases, teachers don't, step back and take that look at, okay, you got a bad grade. Why?
Exactly.
Yes.
Why didn't you understand these equations? Why didn't you understand, these problems? What is stopping us? What's stopping you from learning the knowledge that I'm trying to give to you? Is it that, we're not doing enough visual things? Is it we're not doing enough, hands-on? Jesse, since you've been a teacher, you've been on the other side of the desk, the one that is trying to, or did, give out the knowledge and still does. How do you, bridge that gap and create, non-drifters instead of drifters?
Well, it's kind of like you said, that I would always take an inventory of, okay, this is the assignment. I understand the types of learners that I have. You're dealing with adult learners. So they're coming in with some preconceived notions. You have to be aware of that. That through their academic career, I don't think anyone really took the time to, give them personal assessment. And I would do that in class. Like, hey, tell me how you think you learn best. Right? And so from there, I could go, hey, 30% of the class, they need visual aids. The other 30%, they need, the hands-on. And I got another, 40 who I can just give them the work, and they're going to read it, and they're going to be good.
Right.
And that would change every semester. But you'd have to do that work. You have to be aware that it's about the output of information. How it's going to be received. So you have to be aware of how you're going to be received.
Right.
What you're saying, because often what gets us in trouble in communication is not, what we say, it's what the person hears.
Right.
And so being aware of that, you're like, okay, I have to definitely tailor the information to where you can receive it, and not just receive it, but understand and comprehend.
Yes.
Because that's key. If you want someone to become educated, they have to be able to receive it, to understand it, to comprehend it. And then I would have them oftentimes, hey, now that you have this, now it's your turn. You go to the board. You go to the front of the classroom, and you're going to teach it. Because if you teach it, you can know it.
True.
And if you can't, I can identify what area needs to be strengthened. And from there, okay, I got you. Because the goal is success. The goal is to learn. I tell them all the time, hey, this is just for these tests, these quizzes are just so I get a baseline of where you're at. Don't worry about, the letter grade. Don't worry about the number, right? Because for me, in my career, the classes that I made this season were the classes that I actually gained the most information, because it was a difficult thing, right? It was a difficult course. It was a lot coming at me, but the teacher, the professor, poured a lot into into the information, and how they care. I took notice of how they cared about their delivery of the particular information, and so I would take that and use that in my classroom in the same way. Like, it's about that. Like, it's not about failing. And one of my professors, he did that. I failed every single test, and I mean every single test. And this was a course at a higher level. I'm like, man, I'm not going to get to graduate. I was like, oh my gosh, and so it came towards the end of the semester, and she called me out to stay after class. She was like, listen, you think you're failing right now, don't you? And I was like, I know for a fact I am. And I reached into my bag and I pulled out all these tests. And I said, ma'am, this is a 15. 15. This one's a 37.
There's no way possible.
I'm not passing. And she kind of laughed and she was like, let me show you the grade book. She said, what I gave you, well, this first test was a master's level test. This other one was from my PhD. So she said, everybody in here, they think they're failing or whatever. No. She said, I'm preparing you for where you say you want to go. So I'm not just teaching you right here, right now. I'm teaching you for where you say you want to go. You want a master's, you're going to be ready for it. You want to obtain a doctorate, you can do it.
Right.
Right? So, keeping that all in mind, I said all that to say, it takes that. If you're going to really teach, then you have to, embody the different learners that are in your class.
Very, very true. And I think that's one of the biggest differences, obviously, in, the public education system that gets a hold of our children from kindergarten up until 12th grade. And then once you go on, to university, is that in university, they have obviously a lot more leeway to prepare you for, what's to come. And some professors do, some don't. But, just, that K through 12, we got to get you ready to take these tests.
Yeah, that's it.
And they can't, go outside the box. No. They can't introduce, new concepts or things of that nature. They can't really teach, in my opinion.
No, they can't.
The students and prepare them for. Do you want to go to college?
Right.
Okay. Well, this is what the work's going to be like in college. Do you want to go to a vocational school? Well, these are going to be how maybe your licenses or certifications are going to be tested and graded in a vocational school. Do you want to just go to work?
Okay.
Here's how you apply for a job.
Yes. Yes.
There are so many basic life skills that are not given out. Over the course of those 12 long years that you spend the majority of your life in school, and now you get out of there and you know nothing.
Right.
You just know a whole lot of nothing. You know how to regurgitate and vomit the preamble.
Right.
But I've never been to a job application. I've never been to an interview where they said, "Hey, 4 scores and 7 years ago," and finish it.
Right.
Well, I want to add to that too. So it's the generational thing. So we got the parents that have been through the 12 years of education. They're not taught the knowledge in school. They're not taught, by their parents before them. So the knowledge never they never get the knowledge, and then it's generational. It
just compounds.
Cycle. Yeah.
What do you do different as a parent now that you're like, okay, I don't want this to continue to be, to go this way?
Yeah. One thing that I do is when I have a goal, when I have something that I'm working towards, I tell my kids about it, and because I want them to see me do everything. I want them to see it happen, and I want them to see oh, my mom said she was going to do this, and wow, she did it. Wow, you did do that. You did say you were going to do it, and look, we're here now. And because I feel like that was never my father was a very successful person, but I don't feel like he taught me any of the, he didn't teach me any of those.
He gave you the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
he kept you behind the curtain.
Yeah, he just, which is understandable. A single parent, you're just working hard and you're just doing you're just getting it done. You're just getting it done, whatever you got to do. But I feel like it's important to for your kids to see you do that. I feel like it's important for your kids to see you fail because they see you get back up. They see you keep going, So I try to be open with my kids about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and I want them to see the process.
Right.
So, because it's you could have a successful parent, but if they're not teaching, if they're not passing the knowledge on, then it's...
They're doing you a disservice.
It stops there, you know? Yeah.
Stop gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Stop gatekeeping.
Yes.
Give out the knowledge.
Yeah.
If you've obtained a college degree, give out the knowledge. If you've started a successful business, tell somebody how you did it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a whole lot more in propping them up than you are trying to keep somebody down.
Yeah.
And that's just, first of all, you're just an evil person. If you're out here trying to keep people down, whether they are your children, nieces, nephews, whomever they may be, you want them to be under your thumb. You don't really love them. For one, because if you love somebody, you want nothing more but then to see them do far better than you could ever imagine yourself doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So quit running around here lying, talking about, oh, I love you. Oh, hey, can you help me, start the XYZ business? No.
Right.
Get away from me. And you just want to give them nothing.
Right.
one thing that, Napoleon Hill talks about in that book, in his conversation with the devil, is, one thing that he does to the drifter is the propaganda that he uses through the church.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, for many of us, we had that, whether it was the plantation Jesus or that, the poverty Christianity, as Jesse and I talked about, so, what was that, boy? That was about episode 5.
Right?
That was about episode 5 back then. Take us back. And, you think about why something that was supposed to be meant for our good is then turned against us and used to, keep us down. Jesse, for you, as you continue to read, to study, to deepen your connection with your Creator, why do you think it was, used in such a way to keep us in a certain place?
Well, I think Napoleon Hill said it, right? It is the controlling of the mind to where if I control the mind, I control the nation. Right? So if I want to keep you in a certain place, then I have to train your mind to accept that place as proper for you. And so this is the issue that we have with the school system. This is the issue that we have with religion, right? The focus should be on relationship, not on religion. See, we religiously brush our teeth,
right?
Take a shower. We're supposed to religiously work out and eat the proper foods.
We hope y'all shower.
Right. But those things that we do on a daily, right? Our focus has to be on building proper connection to Most High. And so if I'm in a place of power, a position of perceived power, and I don't want any rebellion, then I have to encapsulate, to engulf, to ensnare, to entangle your mind. Right? Like, I can tell you you're free, but if I keep your mind chained, guess what? I still have you.
Yep.
I still have you. And if we really study and look at the psychology in terms of how we relate to other people, this is how we get into, abusive and non-productive relationships. Because we're tied to the chain.
Right.
Right? And the chain oftentimes is emotion. But to break the chain, it has to be severed by logic, by free thought, by continuous education of the mind, study and knowledge of self.
Right.
So this is how we differentiate the two, and this is how we get to a place that we're truly free.
No, I completely agree. Miss Mia, for you, what was your experience like, in dealing with that? And then, as you grow up and you don't, nobody can force you to believe a certain way, to think a certain way. What's been your experience in that?
Well, I would say I grew up in the church. Definitely grew up. My grandmother very religious. And I think there's good and bad in it because, as an adult, I understand, the Bible. I feel like it gives you really good, guidelines on how, it gives you good information. If you live your life like this, things are going to go well for you. But also, I feel like religion uses fear. It's that fear, like he said in the book, I get to them before death.
Right.
They're in hell on earth because of the fear. So the fear of poverty. But then you're taught in religion that having money is bad. Money is the root of all evil. So you're scared to be successful. You're I want to have money, but I don't want to be evil. So you're taught that wealth is like a bad thing. Rich people, they're bad people. People with money, they're bad people. They're not good people.
Who's telling us that though?
Yeah.
It's the wealthy people.
Yeah.
They're telling us that,
well,
right?
the churches are making money. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about that, how much money the churches are making. So, I mean, I feel like now as an adult, I'm more spiritual than religious. Because, you could look back at history, religion, oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, literally just, it shapes so much of the world, how it is today.
True.
I mean, this whole country based off religion. If you really want to get down to the root of it.
Yes.
I mean, people came here, they came to a foreign place so they could practice the religion that they wanted to practice, right? And look what that did. It started a genocide of millions of Native people. I mean, and then the whole slavery. Religion was used to control slaves. So it's like religion. Man will take things and use it to their will.
To their own gain.
Yes, exactly. So
one question I want to ask you guys. Growing up in the church, and reading and studying. As you said, it talks about being, based upon fear. And, we were having a conversation earlier that fear is the beginning of wisdom, but it is also where we place the fear. Now, Jesse, you tell me from Genesis to Revelations, where does it tell me to fear the devil?
It doesn't.
So why every Sunday do we get up with a message of fearing something that the book says we were never told to fear?
It's a control mechanism. That's all that is. That's all that is. It went from, okay, yeah, you just been getting by, and God's been keeping you, and it's all right. You're gonna free you to, now the devil's on you. If you need deliverance, we need an extra 20.
She said, give me your 5 right now. So you didn't give. Here's the plate again.
Right.
Make sure.
You know what? I feel like that ties back into the fear. I feel like it's the same thing with school as it is with religion. It's that fear, that constant fear, like, I don't want to do anything wrong. Oh, okay. Yes. I can't do anything wrong. Okay. Oh, I did something wrong. Oh my gosh. Oh, what's wrong with me?
That's
right.
And just like that anxiety and that fear, you're afraid of doing so. Oh, if I sin, I'm gonna go to hell. Oh my gosh, I'm the worst person. And the guilt, like that, and then it's like the repetition, the thoughts, like, I don't want to be a bad person. I don't want to do. But then there's so many people in the church, right, that go to church, but they're out here living like this. Even the pastors, we see it all the time. You see it all the time.
No, that's the truth.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
They're telling you how you should live.
Yeah.
But then Sister Johnson creeping over to their house for some late night devotion.
A word of prayer and some communion. Hey, man.
Talking about how good the Lord was. No, that was Deacon Lowry. That was good.
Hey.
Oh no.
Hey, it happens.
I just think it's such a dangerous thing, and especially again, now for us as we continue, as we read, as we come into new knowledge, that the gospel means good news,
Right.
And if wherever you're going, if whoever is talking to you, if they're not telling you good news,
they ain't talking gospel.
Man, I understand if you need somebody to relate to where you're at, and they might say that things are a little rough right now. They might say, man, I know your job isn't going well. I know, maybe you're not in the best of health. I know maybe you don't have the car that you want. Right. But if that's it, if they leave it there, understand, like Jesse said, they're not talking gospel. If they never have, hey man, I know your job isn't where you want it to be, but have you thought about getting this certification and applying for this new job? Or hey man, we hiring over here for a couple extra dollars.
Yes.
Oh hey man, I know your car might not be working like you want to, but what's your credit like?
Right.
Let's get your credit good. So maybe you can get you a better car.
That's right.
If they don't have an encouraging word for you, first of all, they don't really read for themselves that book that they claim to stand on.
Right.
2, they don't really love themselves, their God, or you. And you need to get away from them because they're nothing but drifters and spreaders of that propaganda.
Yes.
What would you say, Miss Mia, is one of the most, probably one of the qualities that sticks out most to you about the non-drifter?
A non-drifter. Well, they can't. They're in control of their mind, right? So they can't be swayed, or they're not easily influenced by outside thoughts. They're not going to be affected by a drifter, and they're going to recognize a drifter, and they know to stay away from the drifters, right? Because they don't want to get taken off course, right? Like, you become, like you said, you become your circle. You become who you surround yourself with. So a non-drifter is going to have more non-drifters in their circle.
True,
that's right.
So, and they're going to get the knowledge to get wherever they need to go. Whatever their goal is, like you said, it's very precise. And when you were talking about like going to college, I feel like that's a good metaphor to use. When you say like, okay, well, I want to have this degree, right?
Yeah.
You talk with the counselor or whatever at the school, and they say, well, you need to take these classes this year.
Yes.
This quarter, you're going to take this one, and you're going to take these ones this semester.
Yeah.
It's all lined out, all the steps that you need to take to get that degree, right? So I feel like it's like that. You know, you're going to have your final goal, right? But then you're going to have all the details of the steps that you're going to take to get there. And if you don't have the knowledge, you're gonna go get it. You're gonna get the knowledge that you need to complete those steps. So
I completely agree. Jesse, for you, what is one of the biggest qualities that stands out to you about the non-drifter?
Just their control of the mind. That's so powerful, and it's so freeing.
Yes.
Right. We say all the time, the more that we read, man, the more that we know, the more in control we are.
yes,
To control your mind is something that it is the most dangerous thing to the system that could ever happen.
yes,
That you are a free-thinking individual. Like Mia said, man, I have control of it. I think for myself, and I'm not easily swayed just because you get emotional about something.
Right.
yeah,
But that doesn't matter. We're looking at the data.
Right.
yeah,
The data points are what we're dealing with. And those things are not emotional,
They're not.
yeah,
right? If I get to the end of the data and I really like it, okay, yeah, I might get a little happy about it.
Sure.
But I'm even keeled,
Right.
right? I'm never too high, I'm never too low. And that makes for somebody who can do great things.
Very true. Very true. No, I completely agree. Family, what I want to tell you, about the non-drifters, as they've said, that you have a definite purpose and a chief aim. And you are going to, as Mia said earlier, you're going to be able to discern the drifter.
Yes.
Because these people, they will become loud about nothing. They will become boisterous when they can't control you anymore. They will become agitated.
Yes.
That you're no longer in the hypnotic rhythm and bound by the laws of nature of drifter.
Right.
But I don't want you to be afraid of hypnotic rhythm because it works just as well for the non-drifter.
Yes.
And you can lock those things in if you are out there, if you're an ambitious person, if you are a person who, does your goals and says your daily affirmations. Those things will become a rhythm for you.
Yes.
And as we talked about last time in the power of I am, then the universe will open itself up to you, the infinite storehouse of knowledge. You can actually give it no choice
Right.
but to give you the things that you want, need, and desire. Some people might say I'm crazy, but try it out for yourself.
Okay, that's fine.
Try it out for yourself. Say your affirmation daily.
Right.
Get you a plan. Then get to work and see if people aren't placed in your path.
right.
See if opportunities don't come to you. See if people who are drifters don't start getting mad. And then if they just have to leave you alone because you're not on the drifting path
Right.
anymore. Family, we sure appreciate you guys for tuning in with us today. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to our Apple Podcast and Spotify. We hope you were able to listen, learn, and grow. We'll see you guys later.
Look back on my room, stepping around with the